Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grow As We Go.
Hi everyone, it's Ashley.
What's up? It's Angie.
Hello, it's Diana.
And I'm Fatima.
Y'all, can you believe it's February already? That went by so fast. Literally, already the second month of 2021.
It's my birthday month.
Oh yeah, and then it's gonna be, what is it? Valentine's Day.
Speaking of Valentine's Day, we're going to be discussing the 5 love languages today. And if you guys didn't know, does anybody want to give a brief summary of what they are?
All I know is that love languages it comes from when you were a child and how you receive love and how you see your parents give love or something like that. And that's how it stems from.
Yeah, there's
right?
5 different categories, and they basically indicate how you receive and display love and affection to any sort of relationship, whether it be friendship, romantic relationships, your siblings, your parents. So the 5 categories are quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, receiving gifts, and acts of service, which are very interesting.
I would say this love language term is kind of more, I feel like it's more than just obviously with your romantic partners. I feel like it's also with your friendships and how you kind of discuss and I guess they interact with people that are in your life. Or I feel like love languages are important because majority of the time you may feel like you're giving love to somebody or appreciating somebody or but at the same time you're not really sure if they're receiving it. If they don't hold it to that value that you may be holding it. And I feel like that's why it's so important to discuss love languages because what may make you feel like you're being loved may not make others feel that they're being loved.
I also feel like there's the stigma attached to it, love languages is only romantic love, and that's why it's never really spoken of amongst friendships or family, because when you think of love it's oh, you're boo, but I think what you were saying, Ashley, if you think about it, it can be a very big influence and impactful in any kinship that you have.
Yeah, exactly. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about what each love language looks like?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, so the first one is words of affirmation. What would that look like?
So words of affirmation could just mean hearing, I'm proud of you, I love you, some sort of verbal expression of how it is that you feel. So,
or even simply as writing a letter or writing a nice thorough out text message or telling someone how much you appreciate them, that sorts.
And then the second one is physical touch. I think that one's pretty much explanatory in itself, right?
Sometimes physical touch can even mean not physically touching them, but sharing the same space, even though you guys aren't talking, but just being in the same proximity could also be physical touch.
Wouldn't that be
quality time?
Quality time? I feel like they would intertwine. I mean, it's possible for them to intertwine. Because, you're physically in the same space and you're spending time with them.
I think, for example, when I was taking the quiz, physical touch, one of the questions was do you prefer your partner putting your arm around you in public? Is it something that you
or
value
hugging
a lot?
somebody?
Yeah.
Or when we all greet each other, when we first see each other, we always hug each other hey.
I also think too though, because I could be spending time with someone in my room, but if we're not talking, I don't think that's quality time. We're just sharing space.
But to other people, that's quality time.
Yeah, I think that's
maybe
time.
I feel like there's no harm in saying your opinion either. That's what you perceive it to be.
Because we have different perspectives on it. For example, my boyfriend's out or we haven't seen each other in a long time. Sometimes I'm okay, well, I have a lot of homework, so do you want to still hang out? And I'll just do my homework and he'll draw or do something in the meantime. And to me, that's good quality time. We took time of our day to be together, even though we're not really interacting. But
that's interesting, because to me, I would say that's physical, you guys sharing the physical proximity, but it's not there's undivided attention being shared between you two.
But then I wouldn't want that every time, you know what I mean? A little bit, maybe sometimes it's okay, but if it was every single time, then I would be no, that's not quality time. If that makes sense.
In moderation. For me, I would say the opposite. I would feel I would say opposite to Angie, because I feel that's actually quality time too. Just sitting in a space with somebody and just kind of both of y'all taking up that space. But that's definitely like an interesting take. I never thought about it to be like physical. Which brings us up to the third one, which is quality time. Mm-hmm. So this would be for me to be like just hanging out with somebody, like catching up with somebody, watching a show with somebody. Mm-hmm. I don't know, being in a place quietly with somebody else. I don't know.
For me, I take it like your both parties are intentionally like focusing on each other, like no distractions. It's just quality time. And if I don't really see quality time as, I mean, it can be, but what I want and what I need is like that attention, like this is you and me having a conversation instead of this is you and me watching a television like that. I don't like that. That doesn't give me fulfillment.
It says on the thing, it says in quality time nothing says I love you like full undivided attention.
That's interesting. For me, like with like my roommate Allie and I, for me, I really like her and I would just like lay in our rooms and we would just both be like on TikTok on our phones, like in our own bed, but we would still be spending, I feel like that's still quality time because like we would be laughing at somebody and then she would send me a TikTok and then like I would send her a TikTok, like we would laugh at this. Like I still feel like that's quality time, although we're not really like talking. I don't know. But I think that's really important because it shows like we each perceive these things differently.
Mm-hmm. Like I was gonna ask you, when you're in those situations with Allie, do you feel fulfillment? Like,
yeah, I think that's cool. Is that I guess.
Like, do you feel like you feel comfortable, peaceful with her that moment?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Then it probably is quality time, because you feel at peace and you feel like present, I guess, in what you're doing.
I feel like that's another thing that I learned about like having roommates is like feeling comfortable with somebody in your room without having like that shit like there's somebody else here living with me. I think that's also considered quality time in my eyes because you feel comfortable, you can do whatever you want, you don't have like that tension like, oh, somebody's here and I don't know what they're gonna think about me, or like,
judgment.
That's why the next one would be receiving gifts. That's another one. So what do you guys perceive receiving gifts?
I'm not a huge gift person. I guess I sometimes I do appreciate it. Like, oh, like you really thought of me. Like, I don't know if when somebody travels, like they brought me like a souvenir. I'm like, oh my gosh, you thought of me. Like brought me. Like it does show me like I do like thoughtful gifts. But I'm not a huge person like to give someone just to show my love. Like I'm not gonna just buy somebody something like, oh, look, I bought you this, so that means I love you.
I like how you said intentional gifts. Because there's a difference between something getting something random and then getting something thoughtful.
It's like you're in the liquor store and you see something on the checkout line. Oh, I'll just throw in a pack of gums for her. Like, what?
Yeah. But it's like, I'm going to throw in her favorite pack of gum. Yeah. Because she talks about this gum.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a difference.
This is interesting because I feel like now me reflecting, I think I enjoy giving gifts instead of receiving it. Like, I really enjoy, like, making the gifts, being like, oh, was she like? Oh, okay. And, like, it gives me fulfillment. And, like, when I receive it, I'm just like, oh, thanks. But it's not like,
I think it has to do a lot with, like, your humility, too. It's, like, everybody's awkward when they're receiving gifts.
It depends, too, because when it's Christmas, it's different, or, like, your birthday. But, I think what this means more is, like, random
exactly.
gifts.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I think I had, like, struggle with this one because it's, like, I think it's more of, like, you thought about it, like what Fatima's saying, like, you're not physically, like, dreading, like, oh, I have to buy somebody a gift. It's kind of more, like, you're out and about and you're like, oh, my God, this is really cute. So-and-so would like this. And I thought about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tend to do that. You were saying that, yeah.
Because I personally hate having to, like, although, like, I enjoy giving gifts, I just hate having to, like, I'm going to go to the store today and I'm going to find a gift for that person and this is my only option for me to, like, I hate being that way, you know what I mean? Because, like, I feel like it's, like, it puts a lot of pressure in, like, making sure that you have, like, the perfect gift, but it's, like, this is all that you can choose from and, like, you're, like, I hope they like something, I don't know, maybe that's why I kind of have, like, that struggle with, like, giving people gifts, you know what I mean?
How do you feel about receiving them?
I think the same as Anna. It's still kind of awkward, but it definitely is meaningful when somebody gives you something that you would have never thought of.
When you get fulfilled with a love language, I feel like you feel that, and you feel that you have that feeling, right? You know what I'm talking about. You feel fulfilled.
You're just like, but, I guess they do love me.
Yeah,
I think it's more not like they care.
It's not like the mind fulfillment. It's like you feel it, like, oh my God, like he actually or she actually did this. But when I receive a gift, it's like, it's like more of like that mind. It's not like I don't genuinely feel, if that makes sense, you know? Do you know what I mean?
Wait,
That's
you mean when
interesting.
you give somebody a gift? Wait, say it
No,
again?
when I receive a gift, I don't feel that feeling of emotion. I feel that I think that, you know, like I'm just like, oh, thanks, like practically, but like genuinely in my heart, it's like there's not, I don't feel anything. You get me?
Interesting.
For me, I think I feel it in my heart when I know that it was like thought out, and I feel like, oh, like dang, like this person
But I feel like
really thought about me and wanted to gift me something to like help me, or knew that like I would love.
I like that, but at the same time, I feel like for giving gifts, it's like, obviously whenever you, I don't know, for me personally, like whenever I give somebody a gift, I want to make sure that that's like the best thing that like I feel like I could find that like, but then it sucks because you're like, there's still that possibility that you don't know if that's like what they actually like. So it's like this whole kind of like,
It's like high
state of-
expectation type of thing.
Yeah.
and it's like, crap, like, do they really like it? Like, are they really happy? It's like, are they just
Yeah,
making up
like
this
when they
whole,
receive
like-
it, you're like,
Yeah.
I think they could even be super super simple. Like one of my friends, she went to the beach and she brought me back a seashell that had the colors of my room. And that to me, even though she didn't buy it, like that thought of me, like that she picked this out specifically and thought of me, like made me really emotional.
Yeah,
I was
like those
oh,
are like
shoot,
thoughtful. Those
she,
are thoughtful
She saw
gifts.
this seashell and like, Angie, I'm gonna go give it to her. Like the next one is acts of service.
this is like when someone does something for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you do something for them to help them out.
It's kind of more of like if I saw like it's like if you're feeling stressed and you can't do a certain task, somebody will do it for you. Or like somebody, like let's say you're living with somebody and like, oh, I washed your dishes. Oh, I cooked you this food. Like I cooked you food.
I feel like this one is the most misunderstood love language, at least in my household, is because my parents' love language is completely different. Because my mom gets upset because my dad doesn't like hug us or like say I love you, but I know my dad loves me because he does things for me, or if I like need an oil change, he'll go to like AutoZone and go get some oil and change my oil, or like he'll put things on my room or build things for me, you know. And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, like, yeah, he may not do that, but I know he loves me because of his actions. I was like, you just have to understand his type of love language. And my mom's
How
like,
he
very,
expresses
like,
his love.
yeah, my mom's is completely different, completely opposite.
And like talking about it, discussing about it can actually decrease your amounts of like feeling like
Tension,
SHIT
stress,
or
anxiety,
all those negative emotions. And like because of these high expectations or these expectations that you subconsciously have, instead of just like understanding how different they are. Yeah,
Exactly. And
Interesting,
sometimes they're
though.
not realistic to the other person because they show it differently.
If you guys are wondering, there's this quiz by
Yes.
the creator himself, which is Dr. Gary Chapman. He was the one who wrote the book called The 5 Love Languages, and he kind of was the one who basically explained everything. So there's a quiz that you can take. How are you guys' love languages ranked after you guys took the quiz?
So mine's kind of interesting because I took mine's last year and then I took them again this morning to see, just to redo them, and I got something a little bit different. So this time I got quality time at 33%, physical touch at 27%, words of affirmation at 20%, receiving gifts at 13%, and then acts of service last at 7%.
So mine was actually not surprising. I expected these results. 35% being the highest is quality time, and then 32% was active service, and then receiving gifts was 13%, and then words of affirmation and physical touch was 10%.
Okay, mine was quality time, surprise, surprise. That was 37%. Second place was words of affirmation, 23%. Third is acts of service, coming in at 20%. Receiving gifts was fourth with 13%. And last but not least, fifth place was physical touch with 7%.
it's not a surprise.
We'll go into detail why we think Ashley did get this and how we fucking know that's her last one. Girl hates hugging us.
Hates.
She'll give us the most awkwardest silence.
Yeah.
She's like,
happy birthday.
and she makes that,
Happy birthday.
and she always makes that Fuchi face when she hugs us for some
Like,
reason.
hi,
She
guys.
was
She's
like,
Okay, Diana, what's your ranking?
The first one is quality time. Second is words of affirmation. Third is acts of service. Fourth is physical touch. And fifth is receiving gifts.
I feel like it's crazy we all have quality time as our number one.
I know. Now I'm thinking, like, I wonder if that's why we all get
well
along
together
in some way, or we all understand each other, at least that's at a base level, because we all value this the most. Like, we value our time together.
I heard that, like, the biggest, like, I don't know, the biggest heartbreak or something of some of their biggest love language is quality time, is like when you cancel plans, or like if you like if you do, I forgot what the other one was, but it's like I feel like for sure for me it's like if you have like plans set up and it's like they don't happen, I'm like very sad. I'm like, damn it. But that's just for me. But I don't know what about y'all?
For me, with quality time, if I'm like, say if we're hanging out one-on-one and you're on your phone, or you're not in the like you're like thinking about other things, or you're not with me, or you're not listening to me, you're not engaged or present, all that, like,
girl, but you always on your phone.
Dude.
I'm so confused.
if it's one-on-one, I'm not gonna be on my phone with you.
Dude, yeah, I can also agree. I actually always tell my family members, because my mom always on her phone, and she, like, I hate when she does this. She'll ask me a question, or she'll be like, or I'll be like, oh, I need to tell you something. She'll be like, que, sí, and she'll look at her phone, and I always just stare at her, and I'm like, Mom, I'm waiting for you. I'll tell her, like, I'm waiting, get off your phone. Like, that's so disrespectful.
That's
like,
so
that
funny.
pisses me off when someone isn't present and like they're on their phone, or when you could just tell when someone isn't paying attention. And when that happens, I'm just like, I stop talking. I'm just like, I'm not gonna even waste my time.
I think that's how I am when people eat. I don't know, like if you're eating with obviously with other people and they're on their phone, I'm like, come on, we're eating, you know what I mean? But that's because like eating for me is like a very sacred place for me. But yeah.
But if it's like one-on-one, then I'll try my best, like, not to be on, like, I won't scroll. Like, I'm not gonna scroll on Instagram while we're like, if it's just one-on-one. Actually, we haven't hung out in so long. We haven't. I am getting better. Diana, when we go watch the stars, bitch, am I on my phone?
No, you're not.
Okay.
Because we have no service.
Everybody put you on your spot.
I'm dead.
I'm getting better, bro. I know, that's why I think it's hella paradoxical, too, because I feel like that's something, like, that I value, but I
feel like you subconsciously do it. Like, I don't think you're doing it purposefully.
Yeah.
But it's like you just like a habit, you know?
Yeah,
but like
it's
I
a
always
habit.
call you out. I'm like, bro, like get off your phone. Or like I think I like one day did I take it out of your hands or something? Or like I don't know what I did, but I just remember like
dude.
I found myself being so aware of not even my own presence, but everybody else's, that I don't know why. Well, now I know because of my fucking love language. But like when I see like there's an opportunity for some group of people or even friends to hang out, or even family members, like I get not butthurt, but I get kind of like, it's a pet peeve of mine when I see that everybody's on their phone, or everybody's not really being present, taking opportunity. Like, that really, I just noticing now that really is dear to my heart. And if you actually know how to be present and like are aware enough to be like, no, my phone is a distraction, then I fuck with you even more. And I realize that now.
I think it's important though, but like it's like for me personally though, I think it's okay if like because like, you know what I said, like I like spending time like when my roommate and I, like when we just hanging out, like unwinding, and we're both on our phones. But I think it's different if you guys haven't seen each other in like a long time and you're on your phone, you know. But it's different when it's like, oh, you see people every single day and you're just like both unwinding, you're sitting on the couch all on your phone together. But I think it's because you're not. It's different when it's like you're intentionally trying to congregate with somebody versus when you're just unwinding casually next to somebody else. Does that make sense?
Agreed. Yeah,
so like
I
it's
agree.
okay to be on your phone in that situation. Does that make sense?
No, I agree.
Yeah, of course, to each its own. But yeah, that's another perspective to it.
Or I think Diana and I, we both had words of affirmation.
That's the one I
second
thought was
one.
my second too. And then
Dude,
for
I
some
thought
reason
so
it's
too.
not.
You surprised me with the physical touch.
I
Yeah,
know.
I think, I don't know, I'm just touch deprived or something. It's like, I was like, wait, what? But then now that I think about it, I think I'm realizing that I feel like I am kind of touchy.
I thought
Maybe.
my second one would be physical touch, just because like I love holding my boyfriend's hand, or like I love hugging each other. I love hugging him. I love hugging my mom and my little brother and stuff. Like But I didn't think gift giving would be on top of physical touch.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I feel like words of affirmation for me, I really like it when it's like, I don't know why, but I think when somebody like acknowledges like your hard work or your dedication, or like somebody says like I'm proud of you, I don't know, that for me like means a lot. Or like you're doing great in whatever you're doing, versus people telling you like I love you so much, like kind of like, you know what I mean? I feel like maybe that's what words of affirmation can entail as well.
Because for me, since we both ranked second, I see words of affirmation more so not really like I'm proud of you, but more like if someone tells me how much they appreciate me.
Yeah, that's
And
okay.
like
That's what I mean.
loving.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I mean.
Yeah. And they acknowledge what you've been doing, or like stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. That's
okay.
what I mean.
Verbally saying or telling you that like they see you, they acknowledge you,
Yeah,
and they appreciate
exactly.
you.
Because I feel like it can be so hard to kind of, or at least in my perspective, like it's so hard to like read between the lines. So it's better for somebody to just like literally
Straight up say it.
straight up.
Transparent.
Because I
Just
think
tell
I'm also
me.
a straight up person too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
it has to do with that.
Yeah.
I think also because I could easily tell somebody like, oh, like I love you, but not mean anything to them. But I just think if you tell them reasons why, or like I love you because there's this time where I was at my lowest and you did this for me, you did that for me, and like, you know, I just feel like as long as it comes with with a reason.
I'm a big like love letter person, or I like to write letters. I like to write, if I'm feeling some type of way and I've been thinking about it at night, I'll send you a message like, hey, I thought about this and I feel this way about you, whether a friend, romantic, whatever. Like I like to express it in that way. Like I like the act of writing and making it sound, you know, like authentic to you. Like there's
I
something
really like
about that.
I like checking in on people, like, hey, like I've been thinking about you, or like I'm like, oh, like how are you doing, like just to let that person know that like I'm still caring about them, even though like obviously we're like during these times like we're not seeing each other.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I like to. But I feel like that has a lot to do with how, I hate that this is how I am, but I feel like I cherish the word I love you a lot. Like I don't just say it just to say it to somebody. Like I think it,
That's
like
good.
I'm very intentional with how it is. I feel like maybe that has to do a lot with like words of affirmation being my second. Like I'm not gonna tell a random ass person like, oh, I love you. Like no, like I feel like for me it's more, it's like if I say it, I mean it. So I don't know, it's really interesting.
That's interesting because for me, I will actually tell someone who I don't need to know for a whole lot. I'll tell them I love you unconditionally. Like I'll just straight up, just because I feel like that's very, for me personally, that's my obligation to like, do that and
Express love and gratitude to others.
Yeah, even to
I think you guys both, though, like what you guys both have in common, even though you guys differ in that, is like you guys both understand the power of words and like how much weight that carries. Where did acts of service hit for you guys? Mine was my last one.
Acts of service was the third one for me.
Yeah, me too.
I know for me, acts of service, like I literally love when like people like take their time out of the day to like, I don't know, I love food is like, I think I would also say food is my love language if that was a category. So like I love when like people take like, oh, here, like I cooked you something, I hope you enjoy, or like here I made you tea, I made you, like I really love that. So I guess like food is like a way to my heart. So that's like my number one like act of service. Like I got you, I know you're studying really hard, I got you this Starbucks drink for you, and I'm like, oh, thank you so much, like that's so sweet of you.
I never really understood what acts of service once, or wasn't conscious of it until I moved in with my roommate now. She's very acts of service, and it reminds me a lot of my mom. And she there would be times where I would wake up, go to my internship right away, and I wouldn't have to like, this was all through COVID, so I'd do my internship online, and she would come and bring me breakfast like to my desk, like, hey, I just made you eggs and toast, like here, and I'd be like, oh, and then that's her. She doesn't like say I love you or anything like that, but the way she expresses her love is like, hey, I made you breakfast, or hey, I did my laundry, so I did yours too at the same time.
Yeah, or like when they like fold your clothes, you're like, oh, it's so sweet of you.
Yeah.
It's so weird how that was your last one.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
I think it has to do with how maybe I just wasn't. I think because my mom raised me she was always showing me acts of service. I didn't really. I wonder. Like,
acknowledge.
Yeah.
I feel like you maybe didn't acknowledge that as a love language. Before.
Yeah. Until recently.
I think the reason why I was surprised that was my second one was because, like what one of you guys said, that we didn't really acknowledge it. I really didn't acknowledge it before until I got sick with COVID. Like my aunt and my cousin or like my boyfriend would come and like they would bring us stuff, or like they would do things for us while like I was sick and I couldn't do it myself. So when they were sick, like I would like go take them things, or like, you know, I guess this kind of like a gift, but like I would get them like donuts, or like surprise them with like a little like survival kit of COVID and stuff like that. I made them a survival kit, but I think like those kind of extra services like meant a lot for me in the past year.
What about physical touch?
I rank 4.
That was my second, surprisingly. I think it's my third, but I guess it's my second right now.
Currently.
Y'all know that's my last one.
I don't know, physical touch for me.
Wait, what did you rank, Patty?
Well, it's because I got words of affirmation and physical touch 10%.
Oh,
interesting.
But they both got 10%. So for me, it's like, it's important, but it's not so important that I have to like show the world physical touch. If that makes sense?
Yeah. Like, does PDA make you guys uncomfy?
no.
Yes. Like making out in public?
Okay, well, not making out in public.
I think that is just like a no. Personally, that's a no. Like, I'm not gonna be like, what?
That's what I think of PDA. Like, that's
But
what I
like
think.
PDA could be like there's some people who don't even like in romantic relationships.
Hugging?
They don't like holding hands in public. They don't like even pecking in public, hugging in public, any sort of display of affection. Like they're just like, oh, that makes me uncomfy.
In public, I don't mind like holding hands, or if he kisses my forehead or anything, like I don't mind that, but I wouldn't like even kiss him in on the lips or anything like that. I could barely hold hands in front of my family. But in public, yeah.
Interesting. For me, I see it as like, if we're in public, I want to show off. Like, this is fucking cheesy to say, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Say it with your chest.
like, I want to, like, what is that saying? I want to show the world, or what is it?
You want to appreciate.
You want to show them off.
I want to show them off to the world. Yeah.
Well, now that I think about it, physical touch. I grew up. My mom in moments when she showed her love for me, she also was very like, oh, mi niña, like she'd give me hugs, like my dad too in some way. So I'm not surprised now that I think about it. I'm not surprised that I do like physical touch, because I like when you hug someone, that squeeze, or like I like when like and you're feeling sad, like that pat on the back, or like the hand on your shoulder.
But then that
like
makes you
weight.
cry, and you're
I
like,
know.
damn, do I really
It's
want
just
to
like
cry
that
right
safety
now?
net, I guess. Like that, it just feels like
security.
Or even the energy that goes with that when you hug
that
someone,
transmits
you just
through
like,
that touch.
I love a good hug. You just feel the energy.
I feel like, yeah, exactly. I feel like giving people hugs is good when, like,
but not like
especially-
hey.
Okay, shut up. I think I have to be like in the moment. It's weird. I don't know. I just don't like my mom will hug me and I'm just like, oh, like it makes me feel weird. I don't know why. Like it's not like
Were they affectionate with you physically?
Yeah, they definitely were
Oh.
affectionate, and I just
know.
don't feel like it's weird.
It's just
And I
weird.
hate that I'm this way, but I feel like I have to be in the mood. And then for me personally, I don't like people touching me. I like to be the one who does it. Like I like to touch people instead of them touching me.
Receiving gifts is actually the third one for me, which I thought was going to be like the last one for me. But I guess now that I think about it, when I give, let's say for example, when I give somebody a gift, I put like every single thing I put in there, or if I make a basket or like a gift, I'm like, okay, I got this because I thought of this of you, or I got you this because I thought of when you did this, you know. I think of the person. I don't just give them a gift like, oh, it's
And
just
you
a
can
gift,
you
know?
can so tell, especially in our friends miss Fati's gifts. Whenever who's ever gifted, we're always so jealous. Like, damn, like you got Fati got you.
Good
Like,
gift
damn.
giver. Yeah, she'll take her time wrapping it.
They look so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's why I got it third too. But also if I go to the store or something, and sometimes like if I see something, I'm like, oh, this person would really like it, I actually get it. If it's at a good price. If it's expensive. if I was rich, I would get it, but I'm not. You know, but things like that, like
I think it's a thought that counts.
Yeah.
It is ranked 5th receiving gifts.
Really?
I think for me, receiving gifts, I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, because there's some people who do feel the love when they receive gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because growing up, I never my parents didn't show their love to me by giving me gifts. They did other things. So whenever I get a gift, if it's something big or whatever, I feel kind of guilty. That was my second to last.
That was my second to last too, and I feel like I was talking to my mom about this. I was like, I don't really care for like gifts in terms of like materialistic things. Like if you buy me something, like I don't really care for that. I care more for experiences. Yes. So like if you want to gift me like, oh, like let's hang out, let's spend quality. I guess it kind of shows how quality time is intertwined with that. It's like if you want to say like, oh, let's go drive down to the beach. Oh, let's go road trip up the coast of California. Like for me, like I would 100% prefer that gift over like a Gucci bag. Like I was telling my mom like the best gift that my parents have ever gotten me was like when I got like my Disney annual passes. Like that was like like I just love that, and like
because you get experiences out of it.
And so that's like for me how I feel. That's why I feel like there's kind of like that disconnect.
I think you could definitely give an experience. I'm on the same board. I rather receive a gift that's like an experience than receive like I rather get a plane ticket or like a vacation to go 100%. To an Airbnb by the beach than like get an expensive watch. Like I don't care for things like that. I rather get an experience.
Going back to what you said, Angie, like feeling the guilt of like receiving like expensive gifts, just because obviously growing up me as well, like I didn't like my parents would like for Christmas and like birthdays they would spend a little bit more like certain things that we wanted, but it was never like something super expensive, you know.
That makes sense, honestly, because this past Christmas I got a really expensive perfume for my sister, and when I opened it I was like, what? I was like, wait, why did you buy this for me? Like, I thought you were just gonna give me a perfume from like Nordstrom or something. And she was like, no, like, what do you mean? Like, I always give like really good perfumes. And she was like, no, like blah blah blah. And I was like so confused. I couldn't accept it. I was like, why? Like, you didn't have to do this. Like, no, I'm okay. Like, you return it. She was like, no. She was like, no, keep it. You're gonna smell really good. And I was like, okay. But it was just like really. It was like hard for me to accept that expensive ass gift.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Where does that rank in your love languages? Your
my
last one?
My last.
Oh, so that shows that you're kind of...
Mine was third. That's why I was like, huh? I guess me giving gifts, I like it. Like putting thought into it. But me receiving it, it's like meaningful gifts. Like little things like, oh, this because I thought of you or things like that. I like those. It doesn't even have to be... It can be like little things you picked outside or things you made.
Yeah.
You know, I love that.
Like I gave one of our friends, I got her like a daily notepad or thing or whatever. And it was like $1. But like she was like, oh my God, like I loved it so much. I'm like, oh, like I'm so glad that you like that. You know, like it was cool to see how like others felt over something that, you know, was very inexpensive for me.
Or even like the most simplest things, like if someone were to like pass by a bush of like garden, I mean a bush of flowers, and like they put them like in a little bunch, and they're like, oh, here, I thought it, like, I know you like flowers. I'd like literally melt. I would literally melt.
What I love is like when like friends, like one of my friends, she like made like a Spotify playlist for me, and I'm like, oh, like that's so sweet,
dude.
Like,
yeah, music, come on now, like, that should be a love language.
Oh, for sure. Making Spotify playlists or playlists for people is for sure a love language.
Like, what would that count in?
I mean, because for me, when I dedicate songs or whatever, like I'm very intentional with what the song says or how it makes me feel, or if it brings up a memory. So I wonder if it's like
I think it would be a gift, no?
I think the word gift is very loose, and you can be whatever. And you can encompass whatever you want. Maybe you can encompass another love language within that gift.
And now that we're talking about it, I see a lot of them intertwine.
Dude, I was talking to my mom about this. She's like, I like all 5 of them. I'm all 5. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? Make up your mind, woman.
I like all 5. Period. She deserves all 5. I mean, I think it's important to note, though, that these are all valid ways to give love. Like, there's no right or wrong, you know? You made a playlist. Would you be more excited to give it to someone? Or more excited for what the song says? Or would you be more excited to listen to it with them? I don't know, you know?
I feel like for me that would be kind of like, yeah.
I would listen to my own, like in a very like secreted space, and just listen to on my own, and like.
I think I like it because it's like those other people are caring or thinking about you. And I guess that can kind of go with words of affirmation in a way. Because the other person is like thinking about you, and it's like
they're intentional with the words that say the song, like in the song.
Let me create this playlist for you.
So I think this is perfect time for us to go into our Discover Her segment. So what did you ladies learn today?
I think this episode pointed out the importance of knowing what your love language is in order to assure yourself and the relationships that you have with other people that you guys are both intentionally there for each other, and you guys both love each other, but you guys are addressing each other's love languages at the same time.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it's important for you to communicate with your partner or your loved ones to see what your top love language is, and because they could be perceived and interpreted in different ways. So I think it's always important to communicate with your loved ones about your love language.
I would agree too. I feel like talking about this kind of gives you a deeper understanding of who they are as a person and how it is you could better connect and understand them. And I also think it's another way for you to understand yourself. I think it's important for you to apply even your own love language with yourself. And that could, if you're struggling with learning how to self-love, hit your top love language. Give yourself some of that you give to other people or you like to receive.
I totally agree with that. I think also understanding what it means to that this love language fulfills an emotional need that every human needs. So I think really targeting that and understanding the purpose of these love languages will help not only better yourself, as Angie said, but also your surroundings, and allow you to have this better, deeper understanding of how people around you work.
Alrighty, thanks for joining us for today. For more content, head over to our Instagram at Girls We Gold Podcast, as well as our YouTube channel at Girls We Gold Podcast. We hope y'all enjoy your dose of growth for today, and remember to always strive for growth.
We'll see you next Tuesday at 7 a.m.
Baby.
I found it.